Welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Golden Designworks Caliper. This is the second design from Golden Designworks. The first one was his standard. I reviewed this one and then pre-ordered right after because I liked a lot about it. I love the texturing on the titanium. A lot of good here. And then he drops this bad boy. Now this is only a prototype. I'm sure he'll probably be doing a pre-order for these. I don't know when that is. You have to watch his Instagram. He keeps everybody informed there and on his website also. The OEM for this knife is Best Tech Knives. They do some excellent OEM work, and it's going to come in two different versions of the handle scale milling. Is titanium frame. This one is like a diamond texture. Offers excellent grip to it, and it's got like a smoke gray finish to it, and that is a smoke gray DLC finish. I think it looks excellent. Or you can get this same exact finish with a sky blue anodization on it. Those look nice as well. And then he also offers a fluted version. I'll try to pop that up on the screen. Those look nice as well. It's definitely a tough choice. So what you have here is a pretty large EDC knife at 8.5 inches long with a 3.75 inch blade, which will be CPM Magna Cut at 61 to 63 HRC. This is just a prototype, so I think it's an M390. Let's take a close look at it. You have a two-tone finish. You have a blasted finish on all the grinds. That's wedge, the primary, and on the top spine of it. And then you have a satin finish on the flats. Not the biggest fan of blasted finish. I did a little bit of cutting with this. I did some of my testing, and it's already starting to smudge up. That is one issue with bead blasted finishes. They just don't hold up, and they are usually prone to corrosion. However, with this being Magna Cut, that's not something you should have to worry about at all. So it just depends on, how you like your finishes. If you use your knives like me, then it's not the best user finish. Stonewash finish would look great, or a good satin. But I do like the contrast. I just would have liked the different contrast without a blasted finish. You have a very versatile utility blade shape. Get that tip down on stuff. Excellent for drag cuts. Get very precise, fine maneuvering with that tip. And then you can get some pretty powerful cuts with that pretty much straight edge. It just cants up some a little bit. You have a full forward finger choil, or at least I can fit my finger in there nicely, or you could just call it a large sharpening choil, whatever you want to call it. He has some of the best jimping on a knife that I've ever seen. This is very fine cut jimping, and it's excellent. It grabs a hold of the thumb nicely without being uncomfortable in the least. I experienced this on his standard model, and it's nice and comfortable but grippy at the same time. Very well done. I'm glad he brought that over to this design as well. Large blade hole. We'll talk about that later. You have a flat grind on here. Now, this particular one, I measured behind the edge thickness, and it's around 14 thousandths behind the edge, which is excellent. However, I looked on his site, and it says that they're going to be 20 thousandths behind the edge. I really wish you would keep the 14 thousandths like this one, because this one performed really well. Let's check it out. Even though this prototype isn't in Magna Cut steel, I still wanted to see how the blade sliced and how it felt while doing so. So I didn't do as much cutting as I normally do. The blade was super sharp, and that blade profile is excellent for this type of stuff. And it's going to be a very versatile blade shape. I only did one thing of cardboard, but it was doing really fine. And here I'm choked back. Okay, you can see me kind of adjust my hands a little bit. It's because there's I'm gonna show y'all during the actual review. There's a little spot that's causing a hot spot on my pinky, where one of the little points is on the bottom of the handle. And look, I'm showing you right here, right there, where the edge of the titanium and that diamond texture is. It was a little uncomfortable, but I fixed it really quick by choking up. That's usually where I would go anyway. I just wanted to test both just to see what's the most comfortable, and I was able to get a lot of power in this grip, a lot of control, because I'm right up on that edge, and it was fairly comfortable in that grip. You got a lot of grip from that diamond texturing. So not bad at all. I did have to raise it up on the block, however, because you have a straight edge. And if you don't do that, it's, first of all, it's a nightmare to try to cut on a flat surface. And you're only getting that very tip portion of the apex onto the material you're cutting. Unless you're doing like a pull cut through something. And I can do that with the non-fibrous materials or materials where I can lift my hand up and come down on it. But with the sisal rope, if I don't lift it up like this, I'm just not going to do it because it's so uncomfortable. I get blisters even worse than I do when I do it normally. But I was just testing it out. I think I did like 40 cuts. And I'm pretty certain the Magna Cut will be able to do twice as many. But so far it's comfortable, even in that little pointer grip. And this is where it's going to shine, of course. You can do the drag cuts with that very precise tip. And it was very easy. And this is what I'm talking about, where you can still do some cutting on a flat cutting surface. But as you can see, I'm using that very front portion by the tip. So, of course, that part is going to get dull before the rest much quicker. But like I said, can I do it? Yes. It's just whenever you're going through that sisal rope is, if you've never cut a bunch of that up, it's a pain and it's very uncomfortable and it's not fun at all. I give all props to Cedric Aneda. Pete is a warrior. I don't know how he can do it. But yeah, I think this thing performed really nice. I really hope they keep the thinness. I think they keep the behind the edge thickness to 14 thousandths instead of the 20 thousandths, because this thing performed really nice just the way it is. So let's cross our fingers on that one. All right, now we're going to talk about the deployment and the action on the knife. Now, this is a 3-trick pony, not usually my favorite, but the blade hole works outstanding for the reverse flick. This thing rockets out. Very nice drop shut action. Now you have a back flipper and a front flipper. I found with the back flipper, if I just pull it down like that, it's the easiest for me. You just have to make sure when you pull it, you don't hit this spot. Now, I didn't read any of his updates because I like to better form my own opinion. Because, you know, a lot of times if you read something, then that's when you see it. So that could be, any of the things I'm talking about could be things that he's going to change. So definitely read his little section on his website to see. And when it comes to the front flipper, it's flush with that top scale. So I could maybe, yeah, it's kind of hard to do. I could do the reach around kinda. And I can do this. It's just not the most comfortable for me. I'm not the best front flipper, and I would much prefer that blade flick. Let's see, I can thumb flick it, and I can slow roll it, but the detent's more dialed for the reverse flick. It's very smooth though. Just look at that. Absolutely no friction on the way down once you release that lock. Let's take a quick look at these beautiful scales. You have a nice slight contouring on the titanium scales. Excellent job. You have this beautiful micro milling that offers a really good bit of texture. Especially, I think with that DLC finish, it gives it a little bit more tackiness to it. And I love that. I think it looks phenomenal. It actually offers extra grip. You have Torx T8 hardware throughout, and it's all titanium hardware, even on the lock bar stabilizer. Excellent job. You have a inset spot right here for this button lock. Now, this is the star of the show for me on this one, and I think it's genius. I absolutely love this, and this is part of the reason why, if I can afford it, I'm gonna pre-order this knife. So this is no ordinary button lock. This is what he's calling a fusion lock. So basically what it's fusing together is a button lock and a frame lock. I didn't even notice the frame lock at first. Whenever I first took this out of the box, I was just, using it as a button lock. And you get that same beautiful action as a button lock. You get to keep your fingers out of the blade path when closing. It's safe like a button lock. But if you get tired of the button lock, you could always close it like a frame lock, because it's a frame lock. So basically, when you press this button, press that button, there's a little plate hooked to the frame lock. Genius idea. Hopefully you can see that well enough. And it pushes over that frame lock. Outstanding job. I love stuff like that. Just little things to make my life easier whenever I am, trying to either fidget with a knife or close it without a problem. My hands are all messed up, and this type of stuff really helps me out. And I like to be able to go back and forth. Every once in a while, I'll use that frame lock. It's nice and comfortable, easy to get to, and this one's very easy as well. I would definitely try to patent that. That's an awesome idea. And it also gives you a detent. Unlike a button lock, you're relying on that spring tension. This one, you're just relying on an actual detent ball, so you're gonna have that nice crisp break detent. Something you don't usually get on a button lock. Some of them do, like the Malibu's pretty nice and crisp, but it's still not as crisp as this is. So this gives you the best of both worlds, in my opinion. Love to hear y'all thoughts about the Fusion lock. I think it's awesome. I would love to see that on a lot more knives. We've seen this on the liner locks and the compression lock. Now it's awesome seeing it on the frame lock. Now this is tip up right hand carry only on this one, but I'm pretty sure I remember looking at his website. I think they have lefty versions, so definitely go check that out. Just don't quote me on that. So I'm pretty sure I saw that. Now let's talk about the handle real quick. Something I noticed whenever I was doing the cutting, when I was choked back like this and I was pushing down hard, this point right here, I think it's because of how that micro milling comes all the way down to right there. They do have a little bitty bevel, but I would have loved to see that bevel a little bit wider, because that was a little uncomfortable. Now, it was only uncomfortable when I was really bearing down, and I was easily able to negate that problem by choking up. I could choke up and it's comfortable up here. So is it that big of a deal? Probably not, you know, because most of the time when I'm trying to bear down on something, I like to get really close up so I can, you know, make sure I'm right up on what I'm doing, so I get it nice and precise. So just depends. Another thing that I saw that they did on here that I love it, I wish more companies would do this, is you have this beautiful pattern and he didn't break it up by putting the lock relief on the outside. As you can see, they put it on the inside. That looks so much cleaner. It's so nice. You got that pattern all the way through and through on both sides. A nice subdued milled titanium pocket clip that is kind of like a bent clip, but it's like a best of both worlds there. It is a little stiff, and it is sitting on top of this texturing. I'm not sure if they plan on doing this or not, but I would love to see a flat spot underneath there, because this is going to destroy your pockets. I only put it in and out of my pockets a handful of times, and I could hear it. So love to see a flat spot underneath there. At least you don't have to worry about that clip being on this lock relief. You got a titanium geared back spacer. You can feel it, but it's bare. It's almost flush with the scales. I love how he puts this line right there, and that's a scary thing to do, because if it's off-centered, you're going to see. And as you can see, this thing is perfectly centered. Hopefully my angle's right, because it's perfectly centered. I'm looking at it. Not only do you have contoured scales and milling on the outside, you have tons, look at that, tons of weight relieving on the inside. And I was wondering how this knife was so light, because usually you'll see them just do the contouring and then maybe the outside milling. You don't usually see it also in the inside to get every little bit of weight down. We have 113.3 grams or 3.996 ounces. Your lockup on the knife is around, I'd say 30-40% or so. Bank vault, no play up or down, left or right, outstanding. And even though it's flush with this scale, you have a wide enough portion right there and deep enough chamfers that I can easily get my thumb in there, no problem whatsoever. And then if you have big fat sausage thumbs, you can't get to that, just press the button. You have a hardened stainless steel lock insert. Size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1 and 2, almost identical to the Rat 1. Next is Spyderco PM2 and Para 3. Two great size references, the Best Tech Shodan and the ZTO 640. It's a hair longer than the Spyderco Gale Bradley 2 and the Spyderco Shaman. All right, now let's go over my nitpicks and complaints one more time. I would have loved to see this not be bead blasted, even with like a PVD coated or something. Just not my favorite coating, and it just doesn't hold up to wear. And I would love to see the regular production ones ground as thin as this one. Like I said, it's around 14 thousandths right in this area. So 20,000, this is not going to cut as good, especially with the sharp grind height. It's going to start to thicken up quicker. But that might be stuff he's changing. I don't know. You got to go look on his sheet. Also, you know, this is a nitpick. Maybe a deeper bevel around right here because of that spot right there. But like I said, most of the time I was wanting to come up here anyway. So, you know, it's just a nitpick. Other than that, I absolutely love the knife. It's got innovation. It looks nice. It's got good texture. The action's beautiful. It's fidgety as can be. What else can you ask for, you know? I don't know what these are exactly priced at. I think that's on his site also. You know, with everything that's going on here, with the basically almost like 2 ways to unlock the knife, all the different opening methods, the Magna Cut steel, all the micro milling, I would say it's probably a $300 plus knife, somewhere in that area, because I've paid around that for way less, and this is a big knife. So, like I said, if I can afford it whenever it comes around, I will no doubtably be picking this up. This thing's awesome. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave me down below. I hope everybody's having an absolute amazing day, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.